Sharing. Hey, all right. Here. This meeting is live stream. All right, there we are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Those who do not know me, I'm Anita, and I'm a rare disease advocate. And I believe, I meant to look to see, but I believe this is lecture 7. Anyway, welcome those of you who are watching. I'm on YouTube, not YouTube, Zoom, in the Zoom meeting live, so I'm unable to see who's with me. But who, if you're with me right now, thank you so much. I appreciate and thankful for your beautiful energy and your presence. And if you watch the replay, because it'll be posted, I want to thank you, and I'm grateful for your energy and presence. All right, so this lecture, well, first of all, I want to say this month is National Scleroderma Month, so feel free, you can post if you support for advocating for the cure and the continuation of clinical trial studies for the treatment, advanced treatment and cure for scleroderma and other rare disease disorder conditions or syndromes. This is actually June 29th. Oh, June 29th. Yeah, that's my oldest grandson's birthday, too. June 29th is actually the National Scleroderma Day, but the month of June is the Scleroderma Month. And also, if you're living with a rare disease, autoimmune disease or condition, please feel free to join our autoimmunity private Facebook room. It's a group. I like to call them room, more intimate to me. Post below, or just let me know. You can email me at advocate Anita C at gmail.com, ADVOCATEANITA C as in charming.com. Okay, glad to join you in the family. All right. Last lecture, I spoke on inflammation, and I'm going to recap a little bit because it's very important. With autoimmune disease disorder condition syndrome, a large part of it, in many, and I'm going to say all because I don't know, but with many autoimmune conditions, compromised conditions, there's inflammation. And, it's one of those, the more we know, if we know better, a friend of mine would say, when we know better, we do better. And if we know about these things, then we can be proactive and we can take preventative measures. So I just want to talk about the inflammation with you guys today for the next 13 minutes. And what I'm getting my information. I got my information from Very Well Health. I found them to be quite credible. I received lots of information from them, and I looked them up, and the information, comparing, the summing up, and comparing one fact with the other, and things are meshing. So I'm comfortable with sharing information to you from Very Well Health. Okay. I think they're .com or .org, verywellhealth.com. Okay. Well, anyway, inflammation. All right. So there's acute, and I know I went through, there's acute and there's chronic. Acute inflammation typically comes with an illness or an injury, and that means that it's short-lived, because as long as you have that injury, that illness, if it's temporary, then that inflammation, which is acute, will be temporary. Acute also means the pain with that condition or that illness or injury is it comes and goes, like intermittent. So those are two definitions for acute. But when it's with inflammation, that it deals with an injury or illness. Now, with it, what happens is with inflammation is that when we're inflamed, then our immune system is just constantly working, and even goes overboard with the working. Even just like when we go to, on our jobs, and if we're working normally 40 hours a week and we start, now we're being mandated and to work overtime, and we're working 60, 70 hours a week, we feel that fatigue, that burnout, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with our immune system. It gets overloaded because it's continuing working. There is no rest. Like when we go to sleep at night, your body, is healing itself. That's why it's so important to get rest. Absolutely, to get to sleep. All right. So, and what happens is with inflammation, if it continues, then that's what can cause autoimmune compromised system, because now the inflammation is more now. It's formed, if you will. And forgive me if I'm not as uh, smooth as I'd like to be, but I'd rather get this information out than try to practice and be smooth. And 5, 10 years from now, still practice being smooth. I want to get this information. So please don't score keep on how I'm delivering. Just please, listen to the message. If the message, whatever I'm saying, is helping you, praise God. Then we go ahead, okay. All right. So we know that there's acute and there's chronic. Chronic means it's continuous. And that's what happens with inflammation. When it is chronic and continues, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up. And that's what happens with scleroderma, systemic sclerosis, diffuse or limited. As Dr. Elizabeth Ortiz from Mexico, she had indicated that excellent information video webinar. She indicated that what happens with scleroderma, inflammation started years ago. And then by time it escalates or reaches its peak or something like that, then those symptoms start coming. That inflammation occurred then, and at this time, it's no longer the inflammation, but it's attributable to the inflammation. But now it's more fibrosis. Now it's changed, but it started with inflammation. So it's very important. So what causes inflammation? Chronic stress. And I'm not talking like every now and then stress, stress that we may have at our job sometimes kind of thing. I'm talking chronic fear, chronic anxiety, chronic tension. That energy builds up, because what's in here is going to come out. It's like when our face break out, the breaking out just represents what's going on inside, either too much oil, something's going on inside of our skin that it had to push its way out into the sign. So it's no longer a symptom, now it's a sign. And that's what a lot of with inflammation. Now, chronic stress, smoking, too little. This is what it said: too little exercise. I'm not sure. I'm gonna mention that, but I'm reading a lot of different articles. As far as like exercise, because as far as that, and it could be too much or too little. Okay, yeah, too much or too little exercise, because it depends on, if you go with this, it depends on your blood type. Some blood type, like I'm group O. Group O needs that cardio, that lifting of the weights and all that kind of stuff. There's O, A, B, A, B. And some of the blood, you're over because of the stress in the system already. When you do all this stuff, all you're doing is stressing yourself out more. The blood kind of thing, you're tight. So some people, you don't want to do cardio. You don't want to do all that. But you may want to do yoga. You may want to do Tai Chi. You may golfing, walking, that kind of thing. So it depends. I'm a firm believer that we need to know what our blood type is. We need to know, how to nourish that blood, because our blood nourishes and nurtures our vital systems. Okay. So I was too much on that, but it said too much or too little. I thought it just did too little exercise. Maybe that might just be me, like, well, Okay. Also, body burden. Our body burden. We have many toxins in our system. I'm waiting for mine. I took a blood sample, life extension, where I ordered the kit, and I sent it in already. It's going to be back, I think they said 2 to 3 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks, where you just take a little bit of your blood and put it on these little plate things and you mail it in. They will analyze that blood and they're going to let me know what type of toxins are in my system so that I can start working on reducing the toxins. Because we do. I mean, it's called body burden. And when I was demonstrating and teaching about soaps, what you put on your skin, what not to put on, because I make all of my body stuff. I make all my soap and my body souffle. I don't purchase any of that. I make my own because I know the importance of trying to reduce that skin penetration, where some products, environmental, will get into your blood, and the toxins, the poisons get into your blood, and that's called skin penetration, going beyond the integumentary system. All right. Low back pain, we can have excess mucus production, and I was looking that up with the NIH, National Institutes of Health, because with the mucus, mucus is good, but too much of it, like Dr. Stevie says, that also can cause or be attributed to, or the companion of inflammation, inflamed, like sinus, things like that. All right, I see that I'm getting low here. The time. Low energy. If you're feeling low energy, that's a sign that you have, maybe an abundance of inflammation in your system. Low back pain. That's also, you want to check your emotions too, because energetically, if you have low back pain, that is a sign that, okay, there's some old stored emotions up in there, because, what is it, 80% emotional with our pain muscle, there's issue in the tissue kind of thing in the muscle. So it's 80% emotional, 20% physical. So you want to, pay attention to that as well. The low skin symptoms, because all that stuff is coming out. And every time when my face breaks out, I said, okay, there's something I'm eating something too much of something, where my body is saying, hey, listen, you're putting too much in. Okay, not, because now it's coming out. Swollen lymph nodes, and like I said, excess mucus production. Low energy, that's a sign. These are signs of inflammation in the body. Poor digestion. If you have abdominal pain, if you have bloating, constipation, and that as well, I think that might be with, I'm not sure with European American, but with the, white American, but with the Black American, as far as with scleroderma, if you have constipation, that if you're not, if you're not using the bathroom or defecating as much, I would say at least once a day, that can be a buildup of inflammation, which can turn into the autoimmune disease, disorder, syndrome, or condition, and specifically scleroderma. So you want to be mindful of that. And these things, it's not like, oh my God, there's nothing that we can do. These symptoms or signs, I should say, these signs, or some symptoms, because bloating, well, that's a sign, constipation, diarrhea, gas, reflux, all of that. These things can be, these things can be resolved. I mean, you go to your doctor, whoever, and take tests and everything, and these things, when they don't remain so long in our system, we're able to get rid of it, or to modify it or do whatever. I just wanted to share with, as far as inflammation, and this Very Well Health document indicated that, like even diabetes, the diabetes is a autoimmune disease or disorder, because disease, what I learned in massage therapy school, is a disorder begins inside. So that's, diabetes is a disorder because it happens with the inside of our organs, the pancreas, or kidney, type 1, type 2. A disease is when something foreign comes inside of our body and does its thing that creates, our warrior cells aren't able to fight off, our white blood cells aren't able to fight off that foreign invader that came from the outside, inside. That's a disease, okay? Um, with with inflammation, you can have dry eyes, you can have brain fog. You've heard of that. You're just not remembering so much. And I recently just went through this, like, what is going on? I feel like I'm not remembering too much of anything. I said, let me get some creatine or creatine or something like that. How to treat inflammation? We can treat inflammation by diet, of course. Of course, our diet, what you put in, what we put in ourselves is what comes out. Exercise, with making sure you know the type of exercise that is good for you, because it's not cookie cutter. Not everybody's supposed to be on that treadmill or running marathon. Not everybody's supposed to be doing that. So that's not for everybody. It's not cookie cutter. All right, medication can reduce inflammation. Herbal remedies, we have different herbs. One is such as cannabis. If you have a prescription for that ginger, hyssop, or turmeric, those things, and how to prevent chronic inflammation, because we're talking chronic, not acute. It's before the acute comes and goes, and it's intermittent, continued upon the injury and the illness. How to prevent chronic inflammation, avoid eating simple sugars, refined carbohydrates, trans fat, high glycemic foods, eat more anti-inflammatory foods like grains, vegetables, and you even need to be careful of the fruit. You want to make sure how much carbohydrates are in your food and your fruits. I know a lot of times we think, okay, we can eat fruit, fruit, and we're eating healthy. Not necessarily, because some fruits contain a lot of sugar. Sugar is sugar. That's what I learned when I was diabetic, when I was diagnosed with diabetic, and watching all that stuff, by the grace of God, it was reversed kind of thing. So during that period of time, I learned a lot about how much sugar is in so much stuff. Get regular exercise, reduce your stress. That is so important. That is so important. Self-care, we talk about self-care, and one of the things, I would say one of the primary things in self-care is being able to reduce our stress. Learn about that vagal nerve. That vagal, that's a mean brother, sister there, boy. I'm telling you, that works really well. That helps with our parasympathetic, that keeps us at that even keel, that rest and digestion, and helps to balance that sympathetic nerve. So that is so important to reduce the stress. That's number one as far as self-care for me. Primary, absolutely, reducing that stress. And sleeping. Some people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or all this kind of stuff. We need our sleep. Our bodies need sleep. Our bodies rejuvenate, revitalize, and do all that stuff. Our bodies have the capacity to heal and the ability to heal itself when we are sleeping. We are not conscious, that kind of thing. So we've turned off the conscious thing and gone into the delta and beta and all that kind of stuff. So we need that sleep. And then what was this other one? This we use antacids or antibiotics. So I just wanted to share that with you. I hope this information helps. If you have any questions or any concerns or anything at all, email me at advocateanitac@gmail.com. And again, happy Scleroderma Month. If you want to come into the autoimmune community, we gladly have you. We just put information, just different positive, motivating, and like I said, information that we can use as far as being proactive in our health, wellness, and well-being. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to share with you guys? I think that's it. The walk, the Scleroderma walk, that was June 4th, was really nice. I created, did a team in the Michigan chapter striving to cure scleroderma, and I want to thank Josephine, Danette, Eugenia, Eileen, Josephine, Eugenia, and Danette. Yeah, because we had 6 total, which was good. First time we had 6 total. And the Empowerment Through Spoken Word, no, went over, okay. The Empowerment Through Spoken Word Poetry, Tap Into Your Help to Heal Foundation, we will be doing a walk, and this walk will be to raise monies for scleroderma, as well as for our Gift of Love domestic violence emergency kit. All right, so it's going to be those we can, the walk will be in person, physical, and also virtual. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be putting out information for that. And we're thinking it's going to be sometime in September, maybe the last Sunday in September for that. Okay, and of course, all proceeds goes towards the foundation, Empowerment Through Spoken Word Poetry, Tap Into You, a Help to Heal Foundation organization. All right. So we know that the journey of self-recovery is absolutely beautiful. And I know you know, I hope you know it's so beautiful. Both you achieve, so are you. So we are tapping, elevating, and tapping on that trust that within ourselves we are human and divine, and within our imperfection rests perfection. And all we have to do is tap into, like I have my mustard seed. If you have the faith as the grain of a mustard seed with no inner doubt, it shall be done. All right. Blessings, peace, and love. Thank you so much.